Now we're going to move to the fats you're going to use when you're making your salad dressing. And one thing Margaret is always talking about, she talked about this in her first book, Eat Naked. We talk about it in the cookbook, the Naked Foods Cookbook, is move away from processed foods. Well, one of the worst is the dressings and sauces that you're buying packaged. They have horrible fats. They have horrible stabilizers. They're all about shelf life. So they have all these just fake ingredients to basically keep it so that it doesn't separate or it doesn't go bad or anything like that.
So let me just go back to what I was talking about at the beginning about saturated fats, where that little stick person's, all the little hands on the ends are saturated with hydrogen molecules. An unsaturated fat means that one or more of those little hydrogen hands is missing. And so the molecule ends up kind of bending, and these carbon molecules attach together. And I know this sounds like a little bit of biochemistry, but all to say that they don't kind of stand up straight anymore. They're now a little bit bendy. They tend to be longer, which means that they're not as stable, which means that we don't want to use them with heat. And I know a lot of people out there are cooking with olive oil and rapeseed oil. A really good thing to know, if it's not solid at room temperature, then you really don't want to be using heat. Or if you do, really, really minimal heat. And there's two different types of unsaturated fatty acids. You have monounsaturated and polyunsaturated, and olive oil is the classic monounsaturated. And that just means it's a little bit more stable. If you put it in the fridge, it will go solid.
Yeah.
And that's a way to know if your oil is okay to use at low heat. But we actually kind of say, just stay away from it. It's easy to overheat it. And when you have an oil that has been overheated, it's rancid, very, very hard on the body, very inflammatory, and actually your body treats it like a toxin. So we don't even want to risk it.
And sadly, if you are eating out a lot, most chefs are trained to wait till the pan is hot enough where they throw in the oil and watch it smoke before they throw in the food. And once it's done that, it's gone rancid. It's gone bad. So they're basically cooking your food that you're paying good money for in rancid oil. So once again, brings you right back to make your own stuff.
One of the reasons why so many commercial salad dressings, and James mentioned this, are filled with rancid oils is because they use a lot of heat, and a lot of the processes do damage the oil. So they're ending up already, even if you don't take that salad dressing and cook with it or something, they're already rancid when they get into your kitchen.
And similar to the coconut oil, when you're looking for extra, olive oil, look for cold pressed extra virgin olive oil. That's ideal. This is an amazing brand, Biryani. Like, first of all, if you ever see olive oil or technically any of these kind of oils, these liquid oils in clear bottles, stay away from them, because that tells you right there that the people who are selling them really don't care about your health, because these oils are sensitive to light, they're sensitive to heat. So right away, this tells me that these once again are all from Radiant Life, and tells me, okay, this company is making sure that what they are providing for you is in integrity. And right here, all these bottles are dark, and thus the oils are going to be, hopefully the nutrients in the oils are going to be more maintained.
Which also means you don't want to store them all right next to the stove or on top of the stove the way some people do, because all that heat from your cooking is affecting your oil. So put them in a nice dark cabinet away from the heat of your oven and stove.
So we're going to show you, and we have, like 10, 12 recipes in the Naked Foods Cookbook on how to make your own salad dressings in literally a couple minutes. Because once you see me do this, I hope that you will never, ever have another excuse of why you do not have time to make your own dressing. Okay, so we're going to show you how to do this. So in the U.S., in Europe, there's different proportions typically for dressings. In the U.S., it's about 3-to-1. So that means three parts oil or fat to 1 part acid. So in this recipe I'm about to show you, which is a basic balsamic vinaigrette, we're going to use balsamic vinegar. However, acid could mean lemons, could mean limes, could mean apple cider vinegar, could mean red wine vinegar. It varies, and whatever you're making, whatever flavors you want, you're going to change the acid a little bit. So in the U.S., we do about 3-to-1. In Europe, they do about 5-to-1. So it's really what fits your taste.
If that sounds like a lot of fat or a lot of oil, keep in mind that all of those awesome nutrients in your salad need fat in order to be absorbed by your body. So this is a good thing. Those fat-free salad dressings, bad idea.
Yeah. And so when I say 3-to-1, what do I mean? Well, 3-to-1 literally is exactly 3 of whatever you're using to measure and 1 of that same measurement tool. So if I'm using a a tablespoon. I would use 3 tablespoons of oil and 1 tablespoon of acid. Okay, so now in this circumstance, the easy vinaigrette in our cookbook uses 3/4 of a cup of extra virgin olive oil, which I kind of shortened to EVU, and then 1/4 of a cup of balsamic. So I'm just going to eyeball that just to show you how easy this is. If you're at home and this is new to you, definitely measure it out, because you want to. The recipes are very tried and true, which isn't true with all cookbooks, and these ones are. And if you follow the recipes, they will work.
So as James said, just take note of this, because this is a really great little salad dressing recipe that I know I've made this my formula when he's not around, or if I don't have the cookbook and I need to whip something up quickly. You just need 3 parts oil, 1 part something acidic, and you could literally be as simple as a little bit of salt and pepper and call it done. And that's actually a super yummy, really easy salad dressing. And you can just mix it up, different types of oils, different types of vinegars,
little pepper,
acids.
Little pepper, and then in this white container I have some sea salt. Funny thing about sea salt, a lot of people, it's recommended to use sea salt, but it's funny, real sea salt is clumpy. Like if you could see this, which I know you're not going to be able to, it's not very, it clumps together, it's a little wet, but a lot of the sea salt people are buying because they think they're supposed to is very refined, because if it looks like regular table salt and it says it's sea salt, it's refined sea salt, and I would stay away from it.
Some of them are even a little bit gray or a little pink.
Oh,
They have
yeah,
different
those
colors, and
so
you're
good.
getting some good stuff.
Yeah. Color is going to mean there's more nutrients. So then I seal the mason jar. This is just a 1/2 pint mason jar, and I sealed it tightly, because if you don't, you're going to get oil all over the place, and as you know, oil is not easy to clean from clothes.
I think that's a pint. Isn't it a pint?
Oh, is this a pint one? I always think, what's the bigger one? I always think that's the
quart.
That's the quart. See, when I was in elementary school and they taught measurements, for some reason I was thinking like a European, because I didn't get it, because they don't do this whole 1/2 pints and quarts thing. Anyway, so that's all I'm doing. I'm just shaking it, and and it's basically emulsifying it, and there it is. Now the best way when you're tasting dressing is you don't just taste it with your finger or with a spoon, because salad dressing is meant to be on something. It's not meant to be eaten alone. So a lot of times something, if you taste it alone, it's going to feel very concentrated. You're like, oh, that's too strong, or it's too salty, or this. But then you put it on vegetables, you're like, oh no, actually this is perfect, because it's spread out then, and it's actually covering something else, and you're getting the flavors from that something else. So I always recommend when you're tasting your salad dressing, you taste it with what you're actually serving it with. So in this situation, we're serving it with some lettuce. Perfect.
Good.
I'll be the judge of that.
Could probably use a little bit more salt, but it's really, I like it.
Yeah, it is perfect.
So 3-to-1, pretty much a foolproof way of making salad dressing. Really nice too is, instead of using balsamic, use some lemon juice. I find it really refreshing. Mm-hmm. Now something kind of tricky about what I'm showing you today is we don't like people using excuses that they don't have time to make things, or I can't eat healthy because it's too expensive, or mostly people say because I don't have the time. Well, you just saw that, so all I did was use a little olive oil and a little balsamic. You know how long these are going to last me, particularly this one? This is going to last me potentially a good month, maybe 2 months. So that's a good purchase right there. It's $4. And then this, of course, olive oil is more expensive, but I'd rather spend the money up front for really good olive oil than get really bad stuff that's going to hurt me later.
I just want to make a little comment about olive oil, because some of you might have heard about a bit of a scandal around olive oil, where some companies have been diluting their olive oil, and even though it says extra virgin and all
Big
stuff.
companies too, like ones that a lot of people frequent.
Some of them
365 label.
Really? Oh dear.
Yeah.
Some of them are actually they're diluting with different things, different companies, but safflower oil, soybean oil, very different things.
Or pure, they're using pure olive oil instead of 100%, but they're saying that it's 100% extra virgin.
So you definitely, if you see olive oil and you think, wow, that's a steal. Well, it's a steal because it's not olive oil.
Yeah.
So you want to be spending a decent amount. I mean, you're looking at probably like $10, $11, $12.
Sometimes even 15. I mean, yeah.
And you know what? That's okay, because it means you're actually getting olive oil. And this is even companies coming from Europe. There's a lot of Spanish and Portuguese companies I know in particular were doing this, and I think that there's been enough media scandal around it now that there's probably a few of those companies I'm really hoping they're cleaning up their act.
Yeah.
But
really.
But just to know, if it seems too good to be true and really cheap, you're not getting olive oil.
And I have to admit, that's why I'm pushing Radiant Life, because this is a company that really quality checks every product they're selling. And I look for that as a consumer. I look for who can I trust? Because obviously, if the 365 label is questionable, not all of it, but some of it, then that makes you question, well, what other things at Whole Foods, or what other things at your other stores that you go to. So far, from my money, everything I've gotten at Radiant Life is absolute quality. They stand behind what they do, and they sell everything I'm showing right here, including the grass-fed ghee. They sell. So
they've done all the homework, so you don't have to actually go and fret about different brands. And I love that.
Let's make it easy on us. If eating healthy is so hard, then let's make it easy. Just shop at the places you can trust.